Time for culture then. It is the festive season, of course. Many of us thinking about what gifts to get our loved one. Books, of course, always a great present, but there's just so many to choose from. So Sylvia Whitman from the Paris bookshop Shakespeare and Company here to make a few suggestions. You bought an entire pile. It looks like you've got a little mini library with you, in fact.
Actually, it was difficult not to bring 100 books with me today because, as you said, books are such great gifts and there are so many to choose from.
Sure.
So I've cut it down to 6 today. There's 6 recently published books and I'm going to speak briefly about each one.
Great.
I thought we could start with one that would fit nicely in a stocking.
Looks good.
This is Wenceslas by Carol Ann Duffy. Duffy is a famous poet. She was nominated Britain's Poet Laureate in 2009, actually making her the first woman to hold that position. And this is a gorgeous book covered in reds and golds. It's very Christmassy. The illustrations are so rich that they literally jump from the page and come to life around you. It's a book-long Christmas poem reimagining the famous carol of King Wenceslas. So there's a feast with lords and ladies and music, and they're all ready to eat this sumptuous Christmas bird pie. And there's an unexpected visitor who's invited in. So the poem, it really reminds us about how important it is to show kindness to one another, which is, I think, a perfect message for this time of year.
You're right, it is perfect size to that Christmas stocking. I just had a little flick through. Nice drawings as well.
Yes.
Enjoyed that. That looks like a nice little one. I like the look of that one. Your next one choice is rather different though, isn't it? Written by the acclaimed musician David Byrne. He was one of the founding members of Talking Heads, of course. It's his latest book, Music, I suspect we're talking here.
I love David Byrne, but this is one for anyone who likes music. As you can tell from the title, how music works, it's an absolutely huge topic. There's all sorts of information in there from prehistoric origins of music to the musicality of animals to the role of technology in the music industry and how that's changing things. It's not academic. It's a very kind of relaxed and engaging style, and it's full of sort of quirky illustrations like pie charts, but don't let that put you off. Drawings and
Trying
photos.
to spot them now. Yeah.
And you could almost call it a textbook. Even it's got pages of tips on how to create a happening nightclub or 6 viable models of doing business. It's a really optimistic book about the future of the music industry. And David Byrne says that there's never been more opportunities for musicians to reach an audience. So for any upcoming musicians in the family, that could be a good one.
Excellent. That looks good too. I've had my little look through, given it my approval too. Okay. Third book then. It's called Topsy Turvy Tales by Charlotte Boulay Goldsmith and Laura Hyde. Design rather certainly very striking in this one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is an exquisite and strange storybook. It's full of magical tales and beautiful illustrations. What they do is they take an expression like losing your head or crying a river, and they create a sort of fantastical and haunting tale based on that. They deal with big issues like heartbreak or eternal love or being too scared to come out of your shell in the most offbeat way. There are 4 stories included in the book, and the design is very different for each one. Although it's very original, there's definitely that Tim Burton.
Yeah, the first one's very Tim Burton-y, isn't it?
Edward Gorey-esque quality of it. The 2 of the stories have been made into animations, and I think we're going to have a chance to watch a clip of one of them now.
One day, the phone sang sad. She picked it up and heard, "I don't love you anymore." The sun, the clouds, the trees, and the wind all peered in, looking as she fell in a big black hole.
Yeah, quite eerie looking, isn't it? Some nice ones in there, a couple of other ones as well, so good stuff there. Now, a lot of people, of course, want to give one of the latest great novels to get lost in over the holiday season. Which would you recommend?
I would definitely think that May We Be Forgiven by A.M. Holmes is just that. It's a sweeping novel where you get immersed in the characters' lives. It's also a fascinating portrait of America and family today. It's set in the suburbs of New York City, and there are 2 main characters in the book. They're brothers. One is called Harry, and he's a Richard Nixon scholar, and the other one is called George, and he's a high-flying TV producer. Now,
A bit like ours. We've got a high-flying George TV producer who's producing us today.
Oh, really? Well, I hope it's not the same story as in the book, because if this sounds familiar, you'll be quickly surprised, because it's very fast-paced, and it starts with a whirlwind of infidelity and murder, and it just keeps going at that pace. AM is... she's been described as one of the boldest, most original voices of her generation. And her writing it's dark, but it's very, very funny.
Excellent. Okay, sounds good. So, George, have you heard that? No murder, okay, required. After don't give him this book to read. All right, what about children? Of course, Christmas is all for children, isn't it? So what have you got for them?
Well, yes, but I'd secretly like this present myself, I
Okay.
have to say. Oliver Jeffers,
Honest.
he is an award-winning Irish writer who's
Good
written
title.
many books for children. Yeah, this is his latest one. It's called This Moose Belongs to Me. And it's about a little boy called Wilfred who owns a moose called Marcel. And Wilfred and Marcel wander through the woods and the mountains, and Wilfred explains to Marcel all the various rules, and there are many, for how to be a good pet, such as not making too much noise while Wilfred is playing his record collection. So then what happens is they encounter someone else who thinks that the moose belongs to them, bringing up the question, do any of us really own anything? So the illustrations are gorgeous, they're colourful, they're poignant. You literally want to eat the pages.
Okay, want to tuckle up under the duvet and read that one to your children. This moose belongs to me. Finally then, just time for one more. Something for the whole family?
Yeah, we're going to end on an unusual one. This is called The Lost Christmas Gift by Andrew Beckham.
Which hopefully it won't be.
No, it's intriguing, this one. It's about a package that is sent from father to son.
Yeah.
And it gets lost in the post, and it arrives 60 years late. The son is called Emerson, and he is now a grandfather. And he unwraps this very late gift from his departed father. And in it, he finds a handmade book recounting an adventure that they had one Christmas long, long time ago. The story is about the father and son who set out into the mountains to find a Christmas tree to cut on Christmas Eve, and they get caught in a dangerous blizzard. So they're lost in the snow, but they're helped by this mysterious man. I'm sure you can't guess who this is. An elderly, silvery gentleman who has a beard.
Okay.
And
he
he helps
red
them.
at all?
He helps them.
a flip.
It's not George. He doesn't speak, but he leaves some little gifts that help them survive, and ultimately helps them find their way home. So it's a magical tale about love, family, and magic, and I think it's one that really all generations could enjoy at Christmas time.
Excellent. Looks like they're having fun with tracing paper in there as well, the way the book's been put together.
It's full of photographs and watercolours and drawings. It's a real kind of, handmade feel.
Excellent. All right, well, look, there's a whole collection here. That's my Christmas sorted out. I think I can just slip them out quietly without anyone noticing. Sylvia, thank you very much for coming in and sharing all of those with us. That's Sylvia's pick for the Christmas top. You're back next week, aren't you? You're talking about something a little bit different, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit less festive next week. It's the apocalypse.
Okay. From Christmas to the apocalypse, where else could you get that other than with Sylvia Whitman and her book reviews? All right, thanks very much for coming in. Sylvia Whitman here every Thursday here on France 24. Very latest news coming up for you after the break. Stay with us if you can.